Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Hope y'all doing okay tonight, today, whatever it is when you're watching this. I work night shift, so I never know what it is. So I wanted to kind of tell a story about a family that I know. And I've seen people. Now, I want to preface this in saying that, I have been flat busted and on my tail several times throughout my life. Well, this story, a good buddy of mine, he was dating and then married this woman for about a year and got divorced. Well, we were all the friends of mine I went to school with, this buddy of mine, her and her family, all homeschool families. And I can't speak for, all families in public school because I never went to public school, and my kids go to public school, and it does feel a little different, but it was a rather close-knit group of folks. The closest thing, if you had a kid that was on a sports team the whole way through school, and you got to know that group of parents real well, that kind of the way it'd feel like to me. So, pretty close-knit group of folks and families, and all the kids would get together from time to time, and they would do group learning or have field trips or outing days or, different seasonal celebrations. They get together, do Halloween stuff, Easter stuff, Thanksgiving stuff, and not, age appropriate all the time, but just, get together. Well, anyway, this buddy of mine, the whole time he was dating, engaged, and married to this girl, their family was always facing a big problem. And I'm not trying to say this to talk down to nobody, but it was always the sort of problem that could be solved with money. And I've been there. There was a point in time in my life where my dad owned two houses, the house that he lived in and the house I lived in that I was renting from him. And I ended up flat busted and was doing good to put food on the table and keep stuff from getting repossessed and turned off. So I ended up having to sit down with him and just saying, look, here's where I'm at financially, and I know that ain't enough, and so I'm gonna, if you can, I need to take out an extending IOU for rent. Thankfully, he let that happen, and once I got situated on my feet a little better, I was able to pay that back. And then there was another time, shortly after the house was completed, some of the old plumbing, specifically for the septic system, ended up needing to be replaced. And that was something, I just built a house inside, less than a year. And I needed to replace plumbing that was encased in concrete. So my mother helped me out with that, got her paid back. And it was the thing where I had the money, but we had booked a vacation when all this plumbing stuff became known to us, and I'm like, well, there goes the vacation. And my mom's like, no, don't worry about it. We'd still take the vacation. I'll take care of this. You pay me back. Okay, cool. Well, anyway, this family always was having problems. This broke, that broke, this bill's due, that bill's due, there's a doctor's appointment that needs to happen, car's broke. And I get that to a point, some of it was bad luck, but a lot of it seemed to be lack of smart effort. I could go push it, and what I mean by that is, okay, I could go push against a brick wall with all my strength all day long, and I'm not going to do anything to it. I could go get a sledgehammer, and I could hammer a hole in that brick wall if you give me enough time. I could go get a wrecking ball and be through that wall in a little while. So it's all about how smart you are, not about how hard you try. And the father of this family was constantly trying, but he wasn't necessarily using his brain when it came to how he went about trying to make things better. And that family ended up kind of, due to always being in the need of a handout, they ended up kind of, at least to my knowledge, burning some of the, or singeing some of the bridges in relationships that they had. And I'll give you another case in point story about all this. I don't want to give a lot away. Someone I used to work with, and this person and I carpooled for, let me think here, 2 or 3 years, I'm thinking. Let me think. I want to get it right. At least 2.5 that I can think of for sure. And it wasn't the kind of thing where, hey, you know, you come to my place and we'll take your car one day, we'll take my car next day, kind of cut down on miles. No. Didn't have a car. Has been at this job for a number of years, was making top out pay, which was pretty good money. Had no car. Had no way to get around. Relied on a neighbor for grocery shopping. And they'd pay me for my time in dropping them off and picking them up for a while. And it just got to the point where they weren't paying me anything for my driving, and I was picking them up and dropping them off, and I ended up switching shifts. And that's kind of how I got out of it. But I know probably close to 3 years that I was driving this person, if not a little more, because I know that I was driving them from the time that Dad got his cancer diagnosis in September of 2016 until May of 2019. And I had found out over time that this person had rode in with a bunch of people over the years. And had essentially gone through a lot of the people that drove past their residence over the years that they had been riding with people. You know, they'd pick her up, oh, I just need it for, you know, a couple months, I can get a couple paychecks saved up, get down payment on a car, and it just kept expanding and expanding and expanding. And then before long, these people were tired of it, and either I'm nicer than they are or more of a fool than they are, take your pick. But I drove her for quite a number of years, and I had found out that from one guy that, as far as he was aware, that this person had been riding in with someone since they hired in there. people's generosity. And I said all that having had to rely on the generosity of people from time to time. But I tried never to make a habit of it and never to let it go on too long. When I had taken that rental assistance, for lack of a better term, from my dad, I think that kind of stopped in 2015-ish. He got sick in 2016, and I was burning a ton of fuel, taking 2 cars to go see him every time I was off work. My wife was spending a lot of time down there while I was at work, visiting with him because we knew his time was short. And so he actually died, unfortunately, with me owing him a touch of money. I ended up paying it to Mom, and we were at peace with that. I didn't like it, but he was okay with it. But being reliant on people long term does kind of suck the nice out of them, and then if something serious comes up, you're far less likely to get assistance. Again, I'm a big believer in community and people being able to come together and take care of people when stuff happens. And I think that more people need to have that mentality, but more people also need to have the mentality that, you know, eventually I'm going to need to take care of whatever problems I got, or get to a position where I can take care of whatever problems I got, and they're not everyone's problems all the time, even if I'm paying them back for their money, time, and effort. I can't constantly be someone else's problem. So, it's kind of a thought I had earlier tonight. Let me know what you guys think. Like, share, comment, subscribe, notification bell. Catch y'all next time.